Alright guys, issue 2 of our build Ecto-1, and one thing I wanted to point out, long-time viewer Jason S. pointed out to me, and it's not apparent from the picture here. Look at the license plate. Remember the complaint I had about the off-center license plate? It's not on this picture, but it's certainly off-center here. Turns out, if you pull up some photos of Ecto-1 from the movie, the license plate actually is off-center cut. So it's this crazy attention to detail, and I didn't even realize that, so that nitpick is just gone. So we'll take a quick look at issue 2 here before we open it. We've got quite a few parts going on today. And you can see we're going to be putting together some of the grill pieces. It looks like we'll be putting in some of the headlight bezels and probably the headlights themselves, and we should be finished with part of the front grille of Ecto-1. So looking at some of the things inside, we have a little article of Ivan Reitman and Practical Magic. If you don't know Ivan, he is the producer, I believe it was, of the original movies. So it looks like the whole thing is just talking about him, and then some more of the Ecto 101s. And so I'm filming this pretty close to doing part 1, so I actually haven't read this to tell you how I feel the contents of it are currently. So yeah. So cracking open issue 2 here, one thing I want to point out is to be careful if you are doing this build, because due to static cling, one of the clear plastic pieces I'm going to have to put in place actually was stuck to here. I mean, obviously I wouldn't throw it out until I was done with the build, but you never know, it could just have thrown this, over my shoulder and lost this plastic piece on the floor. So make sure you check this for any pieces, and I will be doing that in the future for all future releases. So this issue is a bunch of chrome back metal parts except for the headlight bezels. They are once again a die cast. So here we've got all our parts laid out right in front of us, and we start with the grill in this direction. So then we take the front piece here and it clips into place like that, and now we get to doing some screws. And with that in place, we're going to install the left and the right sides here. Again, back to the screws. And I don't know if you notice here, but the screws feel like they're in, and if you're someone who's dealt with screws, you don't want to strip things out, but there's definitely a noticeable gap, so it does cause me to go back and give a little bit of extra tightening. Hopefully that will not be bad for this model. And now we're going to change it up and use different screws. So I'm just checking here to make sure that I have the right ones to go on the right side. I don't see it stamped anywhere on here. It says O2C, but I'm not sure I necessarily know which one is which, though I can tell there's like a nicer side and then a less nice side. And then once you look at it just a little bit closer, you can tell that it's supposed to kind of line up like that. So, say it with me, more screws. So definitely this part is fighting with me quite a bit, as you can see, because it is a little difficult to hold the small piece in the back in place while getting the screw in position that it actually wants to fasten in. And this part makes me a little nervous because you have to hold it in a weird way, and you are sometimes, because you're twisting this and things are weird, like I do catch the front of the chrome on the table, and that would be very disappointing to walk away with an Ecto-1 where my plated chrome is ruined before it's even done. Preferably we wouldn't want it ruined at all. So there we go. We've got one completed bumper outside of this screw that I think needs a little more of our attention. Perfect. So now we're going to take these anti-collision strobe lights, and they are going to supposedly fit in here. I guess they just kind of very, very slightly fit in place. And then you take this piece and cap them off like so. Now I do note that mine has a little bit of extra flash here at the bottom. It's kind of hard to see, so I'm actually going to cut that off because it does seem to affect this piece's ability to touch the bumper, as you can see by it sticking up over the plastic. I actually had thought that maybe this would fit in there more. Oh, there it goes. That's how it should be. So we can ignore that extra flash, and you can see that's how it should be. So it didn't feel like it was 100% right, but now we can actually bolt it into the bumper. But there we go. 2 anti-collision strobe lights in place. So now we're going to be working on the headlight assembly. We're working on the left side. This is labeled L. The other one is not that I see, but we can at least figure out which one it is based on how it lines up here. So first we take this and push it through and get stabbed in the thumb in the process. Ouch. And we might as well do the right side too while we are just at the same spot here. So the reason I had so much trouble getting these on, I think, is the chrome on the poles and the chrome in the holes just kind of really make it a very tight friction fit. Because you can see the other pieces just slip on just fine. And at this stage, I also need these other very long screws, the CP screws. And that's going to go right in the center here. And there we go. So now we just gotta look at the left and the right side. We're gonna match it to our left and right here. And we also are gonna notice that this feels like it could use just a slight bit more tightening. And we're gonna take our final set of screws here, these little BM screws. So we take our left side here, put it on the left side here, and well, first we should get our screws in place. Right into there, and we'll fasten it here. And we'll lose our screw. I think it's going to be a common theme through these videos that it's just going to end up being me versus screws that I can barely hold in my hand. So per the instructions, we are done issue 2. We get the 2 front headlights, the strobes, and the grille starting to take place. Now, one thing that's interesting to me is that I've also got this extra piece here, which looks like it's got some, you see that like swirl detail in it, and this is not in the instructions, and I don't know if it's intended to go somewhere else, but it is not a piece listed here, so I don't know if this came from a different kit. I'm not really sure what it is, but I will be hanging on to it until we start getting closer to the end of this, I guess. Yeah, so, you know, issues 1 and 2 here make up a pretty good chunk of front end for Ecto-1. You really kind of are seeing it come together a little bit, which is very exciting. If you missed issue 1, there will be a link at the end of this video that you can click and go and check it out, and that'll be the case for all future videos. It'll link to the previous issue if you missed it. I'm also making a playlist to kind of make it easy to follow along. If you did subscribe to this and you're kind of putting it together with me, let me know if you got this, or is this just something I got. It's an L piece to something, but it doesn't appear to be an L piece to anything that I'm working with. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I definitely enjoyed sharing it, and until the next issue, take care, and I'll see you next time.